Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article. It's from Sputnik. It was published on February 21st. It doesn't say who it was written by. But I got to say this before we start. I remember the days of when the left would go, oh, the right, they're the puritanicals. They're the ones against this, that, and the other thing. And to an extent, they may have been. Now, everything the left denounced the right for being against, they are against. They have literally become the moral arbiters, the moral right, well, in their own minds. And they feel that they should dictate morality to everyone else. And this whole thing, if you ask me, this has quite a bit to do with the fact that these feminists are looking at the fact that if this becomes commonplace, they no longer have the power of the P to control men. And that scares them. Because feminism, at least in today's context, is about control. It's about domination. It's not about equality. It's about domination over men. And if you can't use sex as a weapon in that situation as part of your arsenal, you lose a lot of leverage. You truly do. Swedish feminists demand state ban on dangerous sex robots. Sex robots and sex dolls reinforce the view that women are objects and normalize men's violence against women. 3 feminist Swedish organizations claim. I'm sorry, I couldn't even make it through that without laughing. That is complete horse shit. There's a major difference between an inanimate object and a human being. An inanimate object is not going to normalize quote unquote violence against women. And this idea is they think that they're going to beat up these sex dolls and shit like that. And they're trying to equate because they can't say no and they look like women to rape. That's not how it works. It's an inanimate object. But I hate to break it to them. With how much these things cost, I don't think a guy's going to be smacking around his sex doll. I truly don't. It's not going to lead to violence against women. I'm sorry to break it to you. You're just sensationalizing and trying to do the fire and brimstone, cats and dogs living together type of argument so that you can get what you want. They're demanding legislation targeting technology that reproduces ideas about exploiting women's bodies. Because, you know, having sex with an inanimate object that looks like a woman somehow is exploiting a woman. That makes absolutely no sense. 3 Swedish feminist organizations, Sweden's Women's Lobby, the National Organization for Women's Shelters, and Young Women's Shelters ROKS, in braces, I don't know what that is, as well as the empowerment organization Unzen, have published a joint appeal in the newspaper Expressen in which they demand a state ban on quote-unquote dangerous sex robots for men. See, they have to put this dangerous in. There's no danger to it. They don't like the idea of men being able to go their own way. Those men who can't keep it in their pants, instead of having women use that to their advantage and you know, use sex against them. You know, those guys are like, well, I'll be in a relationship because I really want to get laid. They're no longer going to be like, well, shit, I can fuck this, not have to fuck her and put up with her shit. I don't have to listen to her bitch, piss, moan, whine, and complain. Okay, I'm in. And the idea of having these brothels makes it so that the guys who couldn't go out and spend the several $1,000s that would do something like this can go and do it. Weakening their hold over men. See, I believe in complete equality. And with third wave, fourth wave feminism, everything has become weaponized. There is no equality. It's about domination, and it's not about male domination over women and them ending it. It's about going past the point of equality and putting them in charge because they're like, well, we're owed it. No, you're not owed shit. But they think they are. The debaters noted that today's sex robots often have the appearance and attributes typical of the objectifying, sexualized, and degrading attitude to women found in today's mainstream pornography. How the fuck does that even remotely make sense? I guess what they're trying to say is that these sex dolls look like porn stars, and if you could fuck a porn star, why would you fuck one of my fat, blue-haired, frappy fucking ass? Why would you fuck it? That's, I think, what they're getting at. I seriously think that's what they're getting at. Because you've got these sex dolls. It's not like the days of, like, you know, you'd get them as a joke for a bachelor party, but the inflatable ones that look fake as fuck. All right, these look real, or as close to real as we've seen so far. And a lot of them look hotter, way hotter, mind you, than your average, typical feminazi SJW woman. That's another thing. They see that they're competing with these sex robots. And because these sex robots look like porn stars, they're afraid they're going to lose. Why are men willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars for a robot that obeys their smallest command? A feminist asked rhetorically. A female robot cannot say no to something that a man wants if she's not programmed to do so, the feminist complained. Well, first off, bitch, you dumb bitch, it's not a person. It's a fucking inanimate object. It is a doll, okay? All right, here's a good example. Do you think your fucking vibrator or, or your dildo or your Hitachi want to go anywhere near your stanky ass fucking female parts? Does it have the right to say no? Of course not. No different. It's an inanimate object. It's not sentient. And you want to know why you have men willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars for a sex doll? And it's not about obeying their smallest command. That is willing to do, if you want to look at it from another perspective where you're trying to humanize it, but is willing to do whatever they want for them, is there's no strings attached to it. They don't have to listen to your bitching, your pissing, your whining, your moaning, your complaining, deal with your manipulation and, berating and everything else. They don't have to deal with that because you feminists, you all do it. You try to change men and they don't have to change. They don't have to conform to what you want when they get one of these things. And you don't like that. You want to control men, and this breaks one of your abilities to control them. Or at least, not all men are going to do this, obviously, but with men who are willing to do this, you have no control over them at that point, at least sexually. The leader of the women's organizations claimed that fantasies stimulated by such technology may lead to real violence against girls and women. So, wait a minute. How the hell is that going to happen? Because literally you have a situation where a doll is going to be willing to do what positions they want. They're not going to smack it around. They're not going to abuse it, because when they're paying tens of thousands of dollars for a sex doll, they're not about to possibly damage it by smacking it around or treating it roughly. Sorry, but you can't have it both ways. You can't be bitching about, well, why would they pay 10 grand and then act like they would just fucking throw it into a wall and fucking smash its head into shit and as part of this fantasy like rape bullshit that you've obviously got going on in your head, which makes one wonder if like that's what you really want to have done to you. Consensually, of course, so it really wouldn't be. But to me, it would make sense that someone like you, a puritanical, would have some freaky shit, hidden in their closet skeleton-wise. Just saying. They also drew parallels with pornography, whose consumption, they claimed, leads to sexist attitudes and actual violence. How the fuck does it do that? You're talking about an industry where women dominate. You are talking about an industry where women make more than men. You are going after an industry and condemning it where you have what you want, a female-dominated industry where they earn way more money than men and they don't have to do gay for pay to get into it. Holy shit. Puritanical bullshit. Seriously, seriously stupid shit these people spew these days. And this idea of pornography and its consumption leads to sexist attitudes. A few years ago, feminists were like, oh, empowerment, go do porn. Now they're like, you know, you should be hearing like the monks in the background, you know, oh, you know, I can't sing, but you get the idea, the monks in the background and them just spewing this shit like, you will be gone, you will be sent to hell if you go and do porn. You know, just that type of shit where they'd be like, you do porn, you're going to burn in hell, the feminist hell. It's just, they've literally like lost their minds at this point. What actual violence has porn ever caused? Please show some actual evidence of that, because you people keep claiming it and you've never been able to show any. The dehumanization of women justifies slavery, and the exploitation of the female body through new technology is part of this, they claimed. Huh? So, okay. So get rid of all your dick-shaped, you know, vibrators and dildos and shit. If you've got one of those, like, you know, man torso things, get rid of that. Like anything that could be mistaken for a schlong that you use to fuck yourself, get rid of it. Otherwise, you're pushing a double standard. And there is no dehumanization of women with an inanimate object, even if it looks like a woman. In order to dehumanize a woman, the woman actually, there has to be a physical person. See, you can't try to portray this like, well, technology, it's a robot, and then give it female characteristics, and it doesn't work that way. The three organizations demanded that an inquiry be made to produce proposals on how technology and activities that normalize abuse can be restricted and prohibited. Because heaven forbid a fucking adult have the free ability, you know, free will to do something that's not harming another person. Oh, heaven fucking forbid. See, this is all about control of men. That's what this is about. This isn't about morality. This isn't about anything like that, because to them, they can use the morality play. But the bottom line is this is about men being able to tell them, go fuck themselves, because I can go fuck that, which looks a hell of a lot better than you. It doesn't bitch, piss, moan, whine, and complain at me. And it doesn't use sex as a weapon. Whenever I'm horny, it's horny. They don't like that. And it's kind of funny. I mean, it is pathetic too, but it is kind of funny how they become these moral arbiters just to make it, harder for a man to get away from them if they want to get laid, or, you know, blow a load, however you want to look at it. Because getting laid, I would look at more with another person. The feminists also want Swedish authorities to make it difficult for brothels with sex robots and dolls to open in Sweden. Because, yeah, then that would make it very not affordable. We'll say affordable, but it makes it more affordable for guys who can't go out and spend 10 grand, 20 grand or whatever on one of these things to be able to go and fuck one, so that they don't end up fucking a woman and getting controlled by the power of the pee or some shit. I mean, this isn't something I wouldn't personally do, but there are men that are going to see this as a way to get away from the bullshit of fucking women. MGTOW, incels, you know, all those types, they're gonna, yeah. Unlike neighboring Denmark and Finland, Sweden has yet to open an automated brothel with no human prostitutes. Oh, that choice of words is funny. I laughed the first time I read it, and I'm still laughing at that line. The organization drew comparisons between sex robots and prostitution because, yeah, you see, they want to do that so that they can try to humanize these things so that they can say, my exploitation, feminism, we got to protect these things. Oh, God. Sweden has, for 20 years, had a regulatory framework that punishes sex buyers, which has reduced the demand for prostitution. Now Sweden must take the next step and dare to address the ongoing technological developments that are driven by the sex industry at the expense of real women and girls, they concluded. At what expense? What does it actually cost you? The fact that you have no fucking control over men using sex when they have that as an alternative? Or at least the men that would go and fuck one of these things? Because you lose power over certain men who would do it? That's what it sounds like to me. Lastly, they demand that such dolls and robots be included in sexual education curricula and addressed from a perspective that portrays the relationship between sexuality and power as problematic with an inanimate fucking object. Oh, shit. That is some funny shit. An inanimate object. We are literally talking about them trying to equate their intersectionalist bullshit to a sex doll. That's sad. In 2014, Sweden received its first feminist government, which puts a special emphasis on women's rights. If they really cared about women's rights, you wouldn't have all the people, from the countries where a particular religion involves truck drivers of peace and vests that have buttons on them and go boom, things like that. I'm just saying. But you see the situation here. This is all about trying to ensure their domination over men, force their will on men. This has nothing to do with protecting women. This has nothing to do with protecting girls. This is all about control of men and control over men. Now, I'm not MGTOW. I'm not an incel or anything like that. But you know what? At least because incels, they just can't get laid because they're who they are. But MGTOWs, it's a choice. And I can respect that choice with how you have women acting these days. I have no problems with that. They want to do that. Hey, that's up to them. They want to get a $10,000 doll. Fuck it. That's up to them. They want to pay for prosties. That's up to them. If they're getting them, if they're the ones that are and it's consensual adults, well, they don't say prostitution. If they're the ones that are controlling their lives, all the power to them. But in a lot of cases, women use sex and other things to manipulate and control. I'm not saying all women, but more than a few. So this gives men an option to say, I don't want to deal with that bullshit. And that's why they don't like it. Anyway, covered it well enough. I'm going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.